Good morning. It's Lisa with Lisa Heal Yourself, and today I'm out walking. There is a tornado warning right now, so if it starts to pour, I will head back to my house. But today's video is about fear. So I chose to do this video today while I'm out walking with the tornado warning because I wanted to touch on fear. It's an interesting thing. So we were supposed to get storms today. We're supposed to get all kinds of storms, thunder, lightning, and then they just started sending out tornado warning, alerts and things like this. So my daughter, who is terrified of things like tornadoes, immediately upon hearing this, breaks down in tears, falls to the floor, cries her eyes out, begs me not to go out on a walk, calls her dad to come home from work. Please come home, I want you to be home. Now, I'm not saying tornadoes aren't real and they're not something to be afraid of, but it was interesting to me for a couple of reasons. One, before she heard the warning, she was just walking around fine. She looked outside. She wasn't taking cover. She wasn't scared. She wasn't worried. You can see that there is a dark sky coming in here, but it's a normal day. It's about 30 degrees outside. The heat is hot. It looks like an overcast, rainy, windy kind of day where we could get storms. She wasn't afraid. She was inside playing, and she was, playing with her brother and eating food and watching shows and playing on her iPad and different various things that she was doing. Not a concern in the world. She was in and outside with the dogs, whatever. When she heard the warning, something happened. Something happened almost immediately, where she was terrified. She started to shake. She fell down. She cried. She was legitimately full of fear. Begging me, please, Mom, don't go outside. You're going to get hurt. Now, if I had left 5 minutes earlier on my walk, she wouldn't have been afraid. Called her dad. So the reason I'm gone, I haven't left her when she's terrified. I'm not that heartless. Her dad did end up coming home from work. This was about a half an hour ago. He is home now, working from home because she wanted him to get home before the tornado. You can see the sky just a little dark, but I'm out here walking. So he's home, so he's with her. So I did decide to do just a short walk to talk about this on this video. And the fear, the crying, the tears, the shaking, the begging, the hyperventilation, the whole thing was real. She didn't make it up. It was real sensations. It was real emotions, and it was literal fear. You could see the shaking, the horror in her eyes, the tears, everything. They were actually real physical sensations that came from genuine fear. So why do I say this? Was because what triggered that? Was it the weather outside? Was it actual danger from a storm? Were we actually in the middle of a tornado? Or did she see evidence of a tornado? Or did she see rain and lightning and thunder and weather patterns that would make her afraid? No. It was the suggestion, the authority, the internet, the alert systems on the phone, alerting her to the fact that, hey, danger, 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 danger's coming. Okay, she's 9. So, but upon hearing this, her physiology within 5 to 10 seconds was full on crying, full on shaking, full on begging, full on everything. Okay, this was a physical, a mental, an emotional, and literal physical response to just hearing somebody warn her of danger. So it was all perceived. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a tornado, but she didn't see evidence of a tornado. She had a perceived or a sentence said to her that triggered it. It was words. It was a sentence. And that changed everything on a dime. Now, if that can do that to a child, what can it do to us? What has the last 2 years done to us psychologically that a virus can kill us? You know, that everything going on in the world, the war, this, that, monkeypox, whatever you want to say. Fear is a strong mental, physical, emotional, and really real response. And it happens like this. So I just want to say the last 2 years have been crazy. And if you're living with chronic illness, if you're afraid of your symptoms, if you're afraid of never healing, okay, I'm going to come down here and just show you the water. So it's not even bad. You can see over here, it's bright. Like, this is what she's looking at, a nice bright summer day. And this over here, well, on this side is a bit darker. So you can tell like the storm's coming from this way. But like nothing. I'm gonna come down on the beach. So it wasn't the surroundings that actually triggered her. It was like the TV. It was the phone. It was, you know, somebody alerting her to the fact, danger, danger. And her system was set off. This is a fight or flight response triggered by something that isn't even real or tangible yet, right? Remember, this is what it looks like now. But the mere thought of it had her in tears, had her shaking, had her crying, everything. So this can happen to us with anything that an agency puts out, whether this food is bad for us, this virus is bad for us, this war, like they can put out fear messages and we're going to be more scared than if there was just an actual tornado that came, right? Yes, it's good to be prepared. Yes, it's good to know if there's a warning of something coming your way that you should be aware of. But I mean, I could just look around in the sky and tell when it's time to go inside, when it's time to take cover, or if there's a serious problem. I don't need alerts to warn me. I can use my own common sense and say, oh, it's now time. I think, you know, we're getting lightning, we're getting thunder, the sky's eerily dark and quiet and still. And yeah, I sense that something is about to happen. You can always sense, animals sense thunderstorms, and they sense tornadoes before they happen, and just like we do. So my point is that any well-adjusted, happy child who has no problems or fears and is just having a normal summer day can go from 100% happy and just enjoying her life on a dime within 5 seconds to a complete mess. Okay, so if somebody like that, if that can happen to it, somebody who, you know, doesn't have health problems, hasn't been triggered, doesn't have trauma, all of these things, imagine somebody with chronic illness. Every time they get a symptom that they don't want, that they're afraid of, that they're worried about, that they think is going to kill them comes, imagine the hair trigger, right? If my daughter's system is on that much of a hair trigger just over a sentence, imagine what if somebody who has chronic illness and their symptoms flare up, their symptoms come. Oh, it's windy. So like, imagine you're a chronically ill person and your symptoms come, right? And they scare you because you have lived with them in the past and you're legitimately scared that they're gonna kill you, that they're never gonna go away. Imagine if my daughter's response is on such a hair trigger with a sentence. Imagine somebody who's living with chronic illness and their symptoms come, or they go online and they read a horror story of somebody who has this disease, and or the doctor tells them this is your diagnosis, this is your prognosis, you know, and you listen to the horror stories, you listen to, you know, all the bad things that can happen. Imagine your fear ramping towards bad stories, doctors telling you bad, you know, giving you death sentences, all the things that can happen. How much you must be triggered every time a symptom comes, every time you're not healing, whatever. And then everything going on in the last 2 years that also adds to and instills fear. So my point of this video is that we must stop. I told my daughter, stop. take some breaths. As soon as you take 10 deep breaths, give me a hug. We will talk about this. She calmed herself down. We had a hug. We talked about it, and I said, you're safe. Look out the window. Does it look like we're gonna die from a storm? Like, it's okay, right? So I had to talk her through it. You're safe. I'm here with you. We're gonna be okay. Once she got enough reassurance, she settled down, and her dad got home, and she settled down. And I said, bye, Ev, I'm going out on my walk. And she was like, okay, see you later. Like, she didn't care anymore. She wasn't worried anymore because she had been calmed. Her system had been calmed. And so that is one of the things that I wanted to stress today. It's so important that we calm our systems, that we learn to calm our systems and say, no, is this real? Is this rational? Do I really need to believe this? Do I need to take cover? Like, is this true? You know, you need to really look at it and calm your system down. Take the deep breaths. Stop. Be rational. Be logical. Be self-soothing. Tell yourself you're safe. It's gonna be okay. Because honestly, when I saw that with my daughter today, I was like, oh my God, and she's fine. Like, and there's fear, there it is. And look how fast it can come. Look how exaggerated it can be. And so imagine somebody with preconceived ideas and notions and everything that they're dealing with in their chronic illness and everything that's going on in the world right now. So you can imagine how everybody's fear is higher and you're on hair triggers. So the number one thing that I want you to do is soothe your fear, calm your fear, calm your central nervous system. Get out of fight or flight. That is the number one thing that you can do to overcome chronic illness, to heal yourself. And it is the number one and the first thing that you must do. So I know it sounds easy. I know it sounds simple. I know it sounds basic, but it's so important. You must do this. You must get your fear under control. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around, and I will see you on the next one.